On September 8, 2025, in the quiet, upscale hills of Los Angeles, something didn't feel right. It started with a smell. Not just any smell, but one so strong, so disturbing, that it prompted a call to authorities. At an impound lot, a Tesla had been sitting untouched. Neighbors had reportedly seen the vehicle abandoned for weeks. Silent, unmoving, forgotten. But what was inside that car was anything but forgotten. When officers opened the trunk, they made a discovery that would ignite a nationwide investigation. Inside were the decomposing remains of a teenage girl. Her name was Celeste Rivas Hernandez. She had just turned 15 one day earlier. Authorities quickly began reconstructing what had happened. Initial findings suggested the body had been there for several weeks. The car had been abandoned in the Hollywood Hills area. No immediate signs pointed to how she got there. The case immediately raised chilling questions. Who put her there, and why had no one noticed sooner? Then came a crucial detail. The Tesla was registered to a rising music artist, D4vD. At the time, Burke was 21 years old, gaining recognition in the music scene. What started as a tragic discovery quickly became something far more complex. Because now, investigators weren't just looking at a crime scene. They were looking at a potential connection between a victim and a public figure. Lou was immediately known about Celeste's final days, but records would later show something troubling. She had been reported missing multiple times in the past year. In 2024, authorities in California had logged at least 3 separate missing person reports involving her. Some sources describe her as a runaway, but that label raised its own questions, because regardless of her past, no one expects a teenager to end up like this, hidden in a trunk, left to be discovered by chance. As news spread, rumors followed. Speculation filled social media. Some reports claimed disturbing details about the condition of the body, but officials later clarified that certain early claims were incorrect. What remained consistent was this: the death was suspicious, the case was being treated with serious concern, and investigators believed foul play could not be ruled out. Still, one key piece of information remained sealed: the official cause of death. Authorities took the unusual step of requesting that autopsy findings be kept confidential. Why? Because, according to investigators, this was not a simple case. At this point, the case stood at a crossroads. A teenage girl found dead, a car tied to a celebrity, and no clear explanation of what had happened. But behind the scenes, detectives were already digging deeper, and what they would uncover next would only raise more questions. As investigators began to peel back the layers of this case, the focus shifted from the discovery to the connections, because one question stood above all others. How did Celeste Rivas Hernandez end up in a car linked to D4vD? The Tesla had reportedly been sitting abandoned for weeks. Neighbors claimed it hadn't moved, which meant one thing: whatever happened likely happened long before discovery. This opened up a disturbing possibility: that the victim had been inside that trunk, hidden in plain sight, for an extended period of time. Investigators didn't stop at the vehicle. They traced Burke's movements and soon executed a search warrant at a nearby residence. According to reports, the home was connected to Burke and his manager. Authorities seized electronics and other materials. Shortly after the search, both individuals vacated the property. But what was found inside? That information has not been publicly disclosed. Then came a detail that captured public attention: a tattoo. Celeste reportedly had the word "shoot" tattooed on her finger. Burke had a similar tattoo. To some, it seemed like a connection. To investigators, it remained unconfirmed. And that distinction is critical, because speculation can easily blur the line between fact and assumption. As the investigation progressed, 2 very different narratives began to emerge. Law enforcement sources suggested Burke was not fully cooperative. There may have been more than one person involved. The case had elements suggesting possible foul play. Meanwhile, Burke's legal team stated he had not been charged with a crime. There was no indictment, and he was being wrongly suspected. They insisted that evidence would ultimately prove his innocence. By late 2025, the case escalated. prosecutors initiated a grand jury investigation. This step indicated that authorities believed the case had sufficient complexity and seriousness, potential for criminal charges. But still, no charges were filed at that time. Even as investigators worked behind closed doors, key questions remained unanswered. What caused Celeste's death? Did she know Burke personally? Was the Tesla used intentionally or coincidentally? And perhaps the most chilling question of all, was this the act of one person or multiple individuals? April 16, 2026. More than 7 months after the discovery, the case took a dramatic turn. D4vD was arrested. Authorities confirmed he was taken into custody in Hollywood Hills. The arrest was based on a probable cause warrant. He was being held without bail. For many, the arrest felt like a breakthrough. But legally, it was only the beginning, because at the time of the arrest, no formal charges had yet been filed. The case was set to be presented to prosecutors. Their role? To determine whether there was enough evidence to move forward. This step is crucial in any criminal case, because suspicion alone is not enough. Evidence must support it. Burke's legal team responded quickly. They emphasized there had been no indictment, no formal accusation had been filed in court, and their client maintained his innocence. Their message was clear. The case was far from proven. As news of the arrest spread, public opinion became divided. Some believed justice was finally within reach. Others urged caution, reminding everyone that an arrest is not a conviction. At this stage, the case remains unresolved. What we know, a young girl lost her life. Her body was found in a car linked to a public figure. That figure has been arrested, but not yet charged. What we don't know, maybe the most important part. This case is a reminder of something deeper. That truth in its purest form takes time. And in the world of true crime, not every answer comes quickly. Some are buried in evidence, others in silence. But one thing is certain. The story of Celeste Rivas Hernandez is not over.